So we got loads of Final Fantasy 16 news today, and I'm going to break it all down for you in a pretty quick format. A lot of this information is not regurgitated, but we've gotten before, and if you want more lore and stuff like that, I'll break that down more in the future. But for right now, there was a lot of gameplay footage released today, like 56 minutes of it, and I'm just going to highlight a few parts of that. And then there's some interviews with Yoshida, or YoshiP, the director of Final Fantasy XVI and of the game Final Fantasy XIV. And I'm going to break down some of those points. Final Fantasy XVI was developed with a focus of 4 main pillars, things that players come to expect with each game in the series. So first, the narrative. So they want to focus on the like high fantasy roots of the series. This is one of their focuses, was like the main story and narrative. They have a lot of quotes talking about the narrative, but one thing they said that there's like 11 hours of cinematic cutscenes in the game. So that's quite a lot for main story alone, not including all the side quests. So 11 hours, that's like 4 movies worth of side or of cutscenes that are in the game. So that's kind of a lot. Second, we want to have a vast assembly of cast. So each character is unique, whether it be backgrounds, whether it be motives, whether they be the like role they play in the story. So they wanted to be broad and vast and have an enormous like array of characters from that. So I think that'll start to play out more once we get a little bit more information. Even with the information that we have about the story, they probably nailed that with all the motives that everyone has. The third one is they want to take advantage of the PlayStation 5. So fully expect your PlayStation 5 to be stretched to its full capacity. Now, the last pillar is a quote, and I think it sums it up perfectly. And finally, and possibly most importantly, is our dedication to creating a fresh and exciting new battle system. Over recent years, real-time action games have continued their march to becoming the norm against gamers. To keep this step and further evolve the Final Fantasy series, 16 has stepped away from the traditional command-based battle system, more common in older games in the series, and adapted real-time action controls. But this doesn't simply involve controlling Clive himself. So basically, it's a real-time action game. Now, I know it's not open world, and they do talk a little bit more about the real-time action in the future for those who do not want to. I'll get to that in a little bit. But lore-wise and story-wise, they're doing all of these pillars, and they're setting up these conflicts around these mother crystals. And this is a part that's kind of vital for the main story, is to understand is they said in this interview, and I'll have all this linked down below if you want to like read it for yourself, but essentially these are oil fields. Everyone needs them. Everyone fights over them. It's what gives energy to the world. This isn't necessarily new to the Final Fantasy franchise. This is just how they're portraying it. So everyone's going to be fighting over these mother crystals. Hence why the Dominion is probably the most like dominant, is because they have the largest stores of the mother crystals. Just a little bit of tidbit there. Next, I'm going to talk about the battle systems that they explained, and there's 2 of them. One is like you are Clive himself, and you can be with companions. You're going to use abilities of icons, and it's just going to be you're in full control of Clive. And even if you do have companions or partners or however they play into the story, you will never have full control of them. You'll only ever have full control of Clive. Everyone else is AI, and that's just kind of how the battle system works. And I think that's going to be the primary battle system for most of it. And then they have these icons, which are almost like cinematic experiences. And a very cinematic Domon, primal versus primal action. You're going to be Ifrit, you're going to be Garuda, you're going to be whatever. And that's going to be like high tense, high stakes cinematic battles. So those are the 2 types of battle systems that are in the game. And there's tons of footage of both of these. So if you want, once again, links will be down below. Some of it will be showing now. And the last thing that I think is fairly important that they talked about is the accessibility options of this game. I do think this game is going to be fairly challenging, but not everyone likes high octane action combat. So they made it so there's an action mode and a story mode. And this is essentially your difficulty slider. And the action mode is just the base game. That's all there is. There's nothing changes about it. And then you have the story mode, which automatically equips 2 accessories. And what it basically does is it slows down time in order for you to hit the button prompts for these high action scenes, so it's not as stressful. And then also another accessory that simplifies these combos. So whether it be like a 4-part combo, it now becomes a 1-button combo, just that you have to execute for those who want to enjoy the story, which I love in video games, by the way. Like, even for someone who loves a challenge, to have accessibility options for anyone that is a fan of this franchise can still experience it. I think it's great. I'm not one that things need to always be difficult. And for those of you who want to enjoy the story, I think this is a great thing. But yeah, I think those are the most important things that we learned today. I'll have a full lore breakdown one day. I'm going to break everything down that we learned. We didn't learn too much that we already didn't know, other than the oil field analogy for the mother crystals. And when we get closer to the time of release, we're supposed to be finding more information out in April. And then, of course, there is at PAX East a Q&A section on March 25th, I believe. So I will definitely update you if we find out more then. But until next time, I hope you have a great day.